Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Mrs. Donnelly's English class. Today we are going to continue talking about J.D. Salinger's classic novel, The Catcher in the Rye. Yesterday we spoke about how his background as an author was obviously a big part of this book. He is a native New Yorker, and he did go do some private prep school. So that is definitely in this book. A thing we have to realize too is that this book came out in 1951. So it was post World War II, which is important to remember. I just want to point this out definitely because after the Second World War, stories tended to be a lot more realistic. They weren't like sunshine and lollipops. And you had real issues being discussed, like alcoholism or divorce. In this particular book, the graphic language and the taboo subjects were too much for some schools, and some schools forbid this book to be taught. In 1951, and actually even today, a lot of schools do not teach this book, and even all over the world. So yesterday we're talking about characterizations and J.D. Salinger. Today we're going to be talking about the literary element of symbol or symbolisms. All right, so I want to show you, um, a little situation I think you'd like to see. Um, I got to just wait for this to open up. Oh, there's my nearpod. Oh, I have to go back. Pardon me. It kind of got in the way, zipping through. All right, so let me show you. Please don't get, you know, blinded by the light. All right. So there we are. Welcome to Mrs. Donnelly's English class. There I am in the right corner, looking lovely as ever. Okay, so the essential question for today is I want you to think about what are some of the literary symbols in The Catcher in the Rye and how do they support major themes in a novel, right? So we're going to be learning about symbolism. Okay, symbolism can not just be in novels, it can be in a poem, it can be an essay. So, first of all, I want to ask everybody, talk among yourselves and tell me what is a symbol from everyday life? Just give yourself a couple minutes and I'm going to, okay. All right, Ryan, I see your hand up. Oh, it's not up. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I thought it was up. Come on, you can do it. Okay, give me a symbol. Yeah, that's a good symbol. The circle with the V. It looks like a tree almost. Yeah, the peace symbol. Okay, you don't even have to write peace, you know what that means. And I have another volunteer in my class, Erica. Yes, a heart. And that's actually in my presentation. So you're stealing some of my thunder, but that is another one. All right. And later on, we are going to actually do a chart, a symbol chart from the book. So I'm going to zip along here. So here's a recap of symbols in everyday life. We see the smile, have a nice day. This one slippery when wet. Oh, watch out. A woman sign. And sometimes this is, you don't even have to put women there. If you're in another country and you see that sign, you know that is a ladies' restroom. This sign, a line through a cell phone, is saying, no talking, right? So symbols convey a message with little or no text. And this is what we had discussed. A heart symbolizes love. So symbols in literature are a little different. Symbols can be objects like the Statue of Liberty, characters, maybe Scrooge from A Christmas Carol, figures, or in colors. Colors, maybe let's say green for envy, are used to represent abstract ideas or concepts. So here are four symbols I'm highlighting from The Catcher in the Rye, but there are more, right? But these are the ones that really stand out. One is Holden's red hunting hat. which we are introduced very early in the book, when he goes with the fencing team from Pensy Prep, and he unfortunately leaves all the fencing equipment on a subway, and he ends up getting this red hunting hat. Another symbol is his younger brother Allie's baseball glove. The third symbol we're going to be talking about today is the Museum of Natural History, and the third is the ducks in Central Park. There are more, but these are the ones we're going to be talking about today. So the red hunting hat, let's look at this picture. It has flaps, it's got a brim. So what do you think it symbolizes? Jordan, what do you think? Oh, I'm calling on you. Just, nothing, you're not right or wrong. Yeah, he's trying to keep warm with it. Yes, it's a very warm hat, but there's something more to this type of hat, all right? It's that hat is kind of like an old man's hat. And he kind of sticks out. First of all, he's 16 years old and he's in Manhattan and he's wearing this like red hat. It's a hunting hat. So on this slide, it highlights that it's a symbol of individuality and uniqueness. And he wears it. Holden wears it because he knows people are going to be talking about it. And he kind of likes to be the center of attention. He doesn't like to be like everybody else. But in another way, he wishes he were like everybody else because everybody else's life seems to be going along, humming along, while his is not doing so well. Okay, the second symbol we're going to start looking at is Allie's baseball glove. Allie, as we'll find out in the story, is Holden's younger brother. And we'll find out he has died, and we'll get some more details about that. All right, so what do you think it symbolizes? He has it, Robert, he has it in the book. He writes about it for his roommate Stratlatter's essay, and he of course has a fit because he's saying, "How could you write about a stupid baseball mitt?" And then, of course, that gets Holden very upset because that mitt means a lot to him. And our next slide tells us that the mitt, it's not a catcher's mitt, it's actually a fielder's mitt because his brother was out in the field. He was fielding balls. And he was a left-handed person. Left-handed people tend to be smaller physically and they're not as strong, but Holden absolutely loved his younger brother. He thought he was smart and he was sweet. And this glove is a constant remembrance of his brother. And so he values it a great deal. It's almost like if you had a ring from your grandmother, or let's say your father passed away and he gave you his watch or something, his car, his 1967 Chevy Impala, right? So it's basically and symbolic. The second to last symbol we're going to be looking at is the Museum of Natural History. This is on Fifth Avenue, and you probably have been to it. Most students go there in their third or fourth grade. It's like a big deal. I remember when I went into the city as a kid, you take the big coach buses and you bring a special lunch and you sit with your friends and maybe your mom or your dad's the chaperone. But it's just a wonderful, wonderful day, and it's very positive, and it's something you remember probably for the rest of your life. And that's, what does it mean, symbolize? Rebecca. Yeah, it's very New York. Very New York. You're absolutely right. It's very New York. It's to symbolize, maybe you could say it symbolizes that, this story is really tied to New York City, which it is. All the sites, where he goes around is in New York. But when he goes to that museum, the reason why Holden loves it is because nothing changes in that museum. I think they change the exhibits more than they used to. But he likes things to stay the same. He doesn't like changes. And We see this when his brother passes away. It's very, very upsetting. When his older brother goes out to California, he says he's like, he sold himself. So he likes staying at the museum because it's his past and he feels really, really connected to it. The last symbol we're going to look at today are the ducks in Central Park. We first hear about these ducks when Holden is in a taxi cab and he's going up toward his parents' house, his apartment, and then he realizes he can't go there because they don't know he's been kicked out at yet another school. So he asks the cab driver, what is he? Yeah, Malcolm, what does he ask the cab driver? No, 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 no. He doesn't ask him how to get to Yankee Stadium. No, he doesn't ask him that. He asks him, what happens to those ducks in the wintertime? Where do they go? He's really concerned about them. And yeah, we just answered this, going up to Yankee Stadium. He's concerned because they're defenseless and he's almost childlike when he asks this. And Holden comes off as Mr. Tuffy sometimes, but in reality, he is like Peter Pan. He doesn't want to grow up. And the ducks, though, symbolize they're like people, bunch of people, and they have to make changes to survive. They're in this weather which is cold, but they huddle together or they find shelter, and that's how you survive. And you have to change as a person. You have to be flexible. If you're not flexible, life is a lot more difficult. So your exit ticket for today is going to be write about one object or person or place you think are a symbol for something else in this book, right? Um, yeah, you can share it with me now. Okay. Allison, what do you want? What are you going to say? Yeah, definitely. Okay, I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to stop presenting, right? Ooh, let's do this. I'm going to stop presenting. Oops. Here, we're going to go over here. All right. Just stop presenting. Yes, we don't need to present that anymore. Oh, we're back. Um, yeah, you're definitely right about his younger sister, Phoebe. She's what is known as an old soul. She is younger than Holden, but she's just a lot more mature and she's kind of got her life together and she's a good influence on him. We have other things I'm going to show you on my Google Classroom. I have an activity you're going to complete for homework. It's identifying two other symbols in the book and how they support a theme. And then I have study guide questions, but those aren't due for a while. So I just want you to really enjoy this book and delve deeper into it because there are a lot of levels to it. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know. I think you're going to enjoy it. And we'll be doing activities and we're not just going to be sitting at our desk. We're going to move around. All right. So listen, have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate it and your answers. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.